What's up, goblins, and welcome back to my Cosmoteer mega ship guide. This is already part 2, so if you haven't checked out part 1 yet, don't forget to do this as well. Because last time we talked about how to get in concept, how to get an idea of mega ship, and I gave you some advices on how you should start constructing your mega ship, as well as some general information about this whole topic. Today, in this second part, I want to talk about what kinds of ship parts do I recommend, especially weapons and how to arrange your thrusters efficiently. And of course, the most important thing, how do you get or how do you construct a proper connection on your ship so they can hold tightly together. Alright, first I want to start with the most important thing, how to get a very stable connection on your ship. So as you can see, I already prepared something for you. This is a connection you could build for a straight up orientated ship. So you have this upper side here as the attacking ship and this downside here as the receiving ship. As you can see, we can also go into construction mode. It's nothing very special. I just have some small wedges here, and if those wedges start to approach this connection, this will merge together with this tile, and then we have a proper connection because this wedge is now underneath this wedge down here. And don't worry, I will show you how this works exactly in the third part, so just keep in mind that this is a very stable, proper connection. Actually, this is not the only way you could make a connection. You could also go for something that's much simpler, something like this, for example. And then you just, when you approach, you build just something like this on the other side. Okay. Of course, without those tiles around here. Something like this. So then this tile will merge down here, and this tile will merge with this tile down here, and then you have also a proper connection. But this was the connection that proved to me the most stable one. So this only goes for straight connections, obviously, and of course I want to show you something that can connect diagonally as well. So you can see it right here. I show it in the construction tab of this ship. You go for one single armor tile, then one double wedge, 1x2 wedge. On the other side, you also go for a 1x2 edge that's matching with this wedge. And on the other side here, on the right side, you go for 3 normal tiles. So I can also show this in this ship very quick from this side. You just go this. It's nothing really complicated to build. Just keep in mind to make, when you build diagonally, you definitely need 2 connections. So you need one on the left side, one on the right side in exactly 90 degrees angle. As you can see, this is a 90 degrees angle. Because if you only build one connection here and you merge it and you start flying, it will just slip away this side. But this second connection here prevents your ship from slipping away. So this is a very stable connection for diagonally orientated ships. Okay, I will come back to this because I forgot something. Actually, you don't need to build 2 connections like I did here, but I would definitely recommend to build 2 connections with a distance of approximately 3, 4, or 5 tiles away. Because if you only build 1 connection, sometimes your ship parts starts to wiggle when you try to move around, especially when you turn around very quickly. And this wiggle can even lead to a break of your connection. And if you got 2 of those connections, this will prevent your ship mostly from wiggling around and wiggling out of your connection. Also, don't forget to guard your connections very well, so don't build your connection right at the end of your ship, right at the rear, because if enemy fire hits this part of your ship, your complete ship will just fall apart and your mega ship will be extremely vulnerable against enemy fire. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about are thrusters. As I already explained you in the last part, a thruster ship is critical within your megaship because you can't coordinate all your thrusters inside each individual ship at once in your megaship. So you need one ship that mainly focuses on thrusters. And therefore you need a ship with a high thruster efficiency. And I've already made two examples here for you. One with MRT thrusters, so this is the new thruster one that you can extend by several modules as much as you want. And I've already made something here for you. This has proven to me to be the most efficient thing of thinking about MRT thrusters in a diagonally way. The second ship is a much easier ship, so this is for forward-oriented ships. The good thing about this one is it's very modular build up, so you can just extend this further and further. If you go into build mode, you just copy this, paste, zack, extended your ship. So now, as you can see, we already extended this by certain modules, and this is already enough power for your ship. The thing is, actually, I do recommend to use MRT thrusters as well, because they are extremely efficient and because they have so many modules you can attach to them. They also give you a huge force into your direction you want to fly. So, but the thing is, I haven't tried this out yet for any straight up forward mega ships, so I can come up here with something similar to this for forward straight ships, but this is definitely a very efficient way for diagonally built ships. So I also used this in this part of my ship, as you can see here. I decided to make some smaller thrusters here instead of bigger ones because I wanted to attach more thruster clusters on this side, and this also gives you some more acceleration at the beginning of your thrust. Last but not least, I want to talk about the most exciting part of this video. Weapons, of course! Woo! And as you can see here, I divided them into 3 different categories. The first one, the recommended category, contains weapons that I highly recommend because of their firepower or because they are very easy to use, such as those rocket batteries. I will talk about, especially about iron prisms and iron beams later, because they are your biggest friend when it comes to megaships. The second category is the meh category. They're mediocre either in firepower or they have some disadvantages if you use them. And yeah, they are not so easy to use like in any kind of ship, but they can be efficient in some mega ship builds. And then we come to the last chapter, the nope category. This is definitely a no-go for me to use in mega ships. So, okay, I want to come back to the first category, especially iron prisms and iron beams. And I can show you exactly why I do recommend this to you on my ships. So, of course, which one do we take first? I think this one. I built already something here. As you can see, I made a iron array over here and connected this array to this prism. But this is the backside of your ship, right? So how does it hit the enemy? Well, that's very simple. You cannot only connect your own iron beams to iron beams within your ship. You can connect your own iron beams also to other ships, like this one, for example. And then you can conduct this beam from here over this prism up there and right in the enemy's face. And the second thing that makes iron prisms your best friend in megaships is, if we go to this energy weapons tab here and we see at its properties, holding Alt, we can see it has a range of 300 meters. This means each iron beam prism extends the range of your beam. So you do not lose any range, even though you conduct it all the way from down here upwards, right in the front part of your ship. I've already made an example for this right here with this ship. As you can see, it is very large, and all those iron beams are only in this part of the ship, in the backside, right? And it gets conducted all the way up here until it reaches this one prism. And if I auto-fire this now and press further, you can see it definitely goes very far outside the ship. So to prove that your iron prism extends the range, I already made an example here, example ship. So you definitely see that, you definitely see that this ray is much larger than this one ray without iron prism. And that is exactly why you want to use iron prism in almost every ship, because you can literally just conduct your beam all the way up from the top, from the bottom to the top. So now that we found out that iron prisms and iron beams are our most beloved friends in building megaships, we also got a weapon in the recommended category which is very efficient in many ways. The deck cannon, because the deck cannon got a decent amount of firepower. And it has a second advantage. You can hide the deck cannon behind layers of armor. So I do recommend deck cannons to use them in your front ship that faces the enemy right up front, because it can just shoot over all of your tiles of armor and does not get obstructed by your armor. And of course, then we got the, let's say, third undercategory in this category, the rockets. With the most powerful, the thermonuclear rocket. After that, normal missiles, and then the EMP missile. So I do recommend them because they have a decent amount of firepower. They don't use up so much resources. So you can, if you have a brick somewhere, I can show you this, something like this. This can already produce so many nuclear parts that I can literally shoot every single rocket launcher here and fill it for like 4 or 5 or maybe more times. So you got enough resources to deal with even the biggest enemy. And of course you can also hide this more inside your ship. It's not as good as the deck cannons, of course, but still you can hide it very deep, and it is still efficient and comes with a lot of firepower. Same goes for the missile rockets. They don't have as much firepower as the nuclear weapons, sorry, but they also got a decent amount of firepower. They got a quicker reload, and you can also hide them within your ship. So the weakest weapon in the recommended category are EMP missiles. However, they have a pretty similar shooting mechanic as well as an extremely high range. That's why I recommend to use those missiles at the end of your ship. It can even reach the farthest enemy. It also is very handy in turning off enemy thrusters or turning off enemy shield systems. So you got a free way for your nuclear weapons or other weapons you might have on your ship. Now we've reached the second category, the meh category. And I want to start with your defensive capabilities. That's why I put them inside here. Those two buildings, the point defense system and as well as your flag battery, they are only meant for defensive meaning. So you do not build them to get a greater offense, but they can be pretty useful if you have to handle a lot of missiles or other kinds of projectiles. But on the opposite side, you really need to think where to build them, because they expose your ship to enemy fire. So I would not recommend to build any critical buildings behind them, such as reactors, control rooms, or large thruster clusters. Okay, now we go to the real weapons in this category. The chain gun. This is also a very interesting weapon to use, because if you extend it with more magazines, it does have a decent firepower as well as a good suppression effect on the enemy for a longer amount of time. So it is very useful, and I'd say it's the most useful weapon in this category. I already got an example for you in this ship. So as you can see, you definitely need to build your chain gun sideways. So you don't want to expose your ship to enemy fire. That's why you want to build them sideways with some nice shieldings above them, so you can protect them or protect your ship from incoming enemy fire. The second weapon in this category is the raygun launcher. So the raygun can be quite hard to use, but there are some purposes that I can definitely imagine that it's useful. For example, I got one ship here in my library that I can show you. This one. So this is also a mega ship, just meant to carry very long ray guns. And actually this is a raygun fan mega ship. And this is also very efficient in this case, but you need to make sure that your ship is very well thrustered to have a good backward speed as well as good turning speed. And therefore it is also very limited in size, because if your ship is too slow, it will be exposed to enemy fire and you cannot turn around quickly enough to follow smaller or faster ships. So you definitely want to make sure that you only have 2 ship parts like this. The last weapon in this category, the mine launcher. This can be effective against smaller fleets of small to medium-sized ships, but it has very restricted damage and very restricted offensive capabilities against larger ships, because you need a lot of a big amount of mines to take down shields and a lot of armor. Also, larger ships almost always come with some weapons that have big range, such as missiles or ion prisms or ray guns. So you need a ship that is very fast flying away from them, and you don't have enough firepower to take them down either. So this landed in the me category as well. Okay, the nope category is going to be very quickly explained. They all got the same reasons. They lack firepower first, and second, they expose your ship, except for this mining laser, of course. They expose your ship, the outside of your ship, to enemy fire, because you have to build them right outside your ship, and those weapons have to face the enemy up front. Therefore, if you get hit by multiple nukes or a big iron beam or many railguns, your ship will fall apart very quickly, and this is why those weapons landed in the nope category. Those are more mid-tier or low-tier weapons you use on normal ships, and they have nothing to do with mega ships. Okay, that's already it for today's episode. I hope you liked my content. And just let me know what you think about my guide, and if you have any further questions, let me know in the comments. I'm very confident I can explain everything to you there any further, and I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.